Okay, it's Chris Roberts for Fight Hub TV. Joined by Kevin Johnson. How's things?
Things are very, very, bit demure.
Yeah.
Very much.
When did you arrive in the UK?
I got here about Monday.
Oh yeah.
Here Monday. It was very, very different. Coming from Miami, 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 50 degrees, really. Went from sunny to partly cloudy, low in the mid 50s, 60 degrees.
You're not a stranger onto these shores though. You've been here, a few times in the past. How have you seen sort of the UK scene develop over the last few years? You see today, there's quite a lot of UK guys on the scene, very active. A lot of good potential out there.
The game is definitely changing, man. It's changing over. A lot of young kids are becoming hot prospects nowadays. That's what happens. Like I was telling someone earlier, there once was a young guy named Mike Tyson. He was 16 years old, came into the same sport. There was another guy by the name of Muhammad Ali. At a young age, he came into the sport. And when people like that enter the sport, young, hot prospects, they can bring a change to a whole new sport.
In terms of prospects, you fought one of those prospects. You're potentially obviously fighting one of those prospects on the weekend. And we'll get down to Daniel Dubois in a moment. But you have fought a prospect in Anthony Joshua. Obviously up and coming, very dangerous fighter. You've seen his progression since he's fought you. What do you make of sort of his developments and where he's gone with his career and how he sort of rose to the top of the division?
For someone who has, first of all, to himself, and when you dedicate yourself like that to a sport, and you get the type of team that you have behind you who's dedicated into you, that's what the product you end up.
What was your experience like of being in the ring with him?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people never, a lot of people won't even make it there.
No, I remember an interview after that with yourself, and you sort of were obviously downbeat with the loss, maybe the manner of the loss. You were talking about potentially retiring.
No, I actually did. I didn't. I had, like I was telling someone earlier, it wasn't that I was giving up on boxing. I had some very personal things going on even before the fight that I kind of wanted this. You can only have one or the other. You can have boxing or you can have this.
Yeah.
You can't have them both. And I knew for a fact before the fight, and it was kicking me in my ribs for 7 weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
7 weeks. And I was even trying to train and couldn't even train right. And right then I knew for a fact it's time to give up boxing to take care of this because I love this more than boxing.
Yeah.
I do. So I had to make a choice like anybody else would do that was in my shoes. You got to give up. And when I lost that fight, I really seen like, dude, you got to stop. You're about to get yourself killed if you don't go back and be attentive to this situation here. Because I knew I wasn't going to give up on boxing. I knew I was going to be back in these streets again. So I really had to give up on something to promise something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to speak about it, but it's just personal. And it was straightened out, taken care of, and I returned back into the sport after, once I was able to be attentive enough to it.
So, obviously, you're back in the game?
For a little while, yeah.
What are your goals now, obviously, in the latter part of your career?
2019, I'll be promoting in Germany. That's easy. I have my first 4 shows coming up, February, March, and May.
Okay.
And February, March, May, and June, I have 4 shows coming up in Gelsenkirchen, Germany.
Are you fighting on those bills, or are you just...
I'll be fighting on the bills as well.
Okay.
I have another fighter named Christian Hiller. He'll be heading all the bills with me as well. And
what weight's Christian?
He's a he's a cruiserweight.
Okay.
Cruiserweight. He's 11-1, and he'll be fighting December, January, February. He have a bunch of tune-up fights coming up. That's why I'll be over here for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We got a couple of tune-up fights coming up. Want to make it to all the fights there, and get back home to get ready to make it back over for training camp in Germany and get ready for my first fight on my first show. The politics and everything that come along with it,
So that's now the goal is more to get into the business side, and then obviously in your latter...
My goal was always to be involved in boxing.
Yeah.
It really wasn't pretty much set. When I was an amateur, I didn't know nobody knew how far you go as an amateur. Like, biggest dream is to become Olympic.
Yeah.
Make the Olympic trials. That's your biggest dream.
Yeah.
Whether you fail it and don't make it or not, to make the Olympic trials is everything.
Yeah.
So my goal was just to dedicate myself to boxing. Boxing was never going to be the avenue to make me successful.
Yeah.
I'm successful in business and real estate. Boxing don't make me successful.
So are you based actually out of Germany now, or?
Yeah, based out of Germany now. Yeah.
Oh, it's quite a big transition and quite a bold
Huge.
move.
I've been there for the last 2 years. Nobody known it.
Yeah.
2 years I've been there. I've been in Dusseldorf, Gelsenkirchen, Cologne, München, Hamburg.
Are you picking up the language, or?
Of course, I'll pick up any language. I speak 3 by now. I speak Yiddish, Spanish, and German.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, you know, that you've got that sort of mindset and, you know, to expand your mind, go to different channels, learn new languages, experience different cultures. So
I mean, that's what I mean. Awesome. At the end of the day, if you really love women the way I love women, you'll learn that language, bro. Trust me. Trust me, you'll learn it, bro. That's just for the women. So imagine what I'll do for business.
In terms of obviously switching attention to your fight on Saturday, you know, I mentioned before another really big prospect in terms of Daniel Dubois. BT Frank Warren investing, you know, a lot of money into this guy. He is a genuine prospect. What do you make of what you've seen of him so far?
Haven't seen anything. That's what I keep wondering. What people seen. What you'll see is an extensive amateur record, but when you talk about what I've seen as a pro, he haven't given anything as a pro. You don't study knockouts.
No.
Me, myself, or you, or even if you had a fighter, you wouldn't sit a fighter down in front of a guy knocking a guy out. Who does that? You want to study a person to learn something. He haven't given anything.
Up on the stage before, yeah, obviously in the face-to-face, very respectful, fist pump and everything else before that. But just as he walked off, you had a quick word to him. I wondered if you can give any insight to what you said.
I told him, because we're going to fight. And the way we're going to fight on Saturday night, we're going to end up being the main event.
Do you believe in the sort of, obviously, you know, there's a couple of guys there, Archie Sharp, you know, back and forth and the sort of mind games and everything else. Do you buy into any of that?
No, not. Well, at the end of the day, you can tell who's really going to win that fight. There's one of them guys are very scared. He's very afraid. You can see it. As a fighter, me, I can smell it. You can see it. Which one is more afraid than anything? One of them is very confident in what he's saying, but there's one that's very afraid. Which one it is, you'll see Saturday.
Yeah, kind of. You know, I think, you know, from my perspective, you know, Archie looked a little bit rattled in terms of, you know, obviously he's got a lot of people here from Leicester on his back. But yeah, you know, there's the mind games is a big part of boxing, and I think it kind of leads on to, you know, be questioned about, you know, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, what's been going on there. Obviously they've been doing, you know, an international press tour, which has been pretty good so far. What do you make of Tyson Fury and his behaviour, and do you think he's got the edge over Deontay Wilder in these initial press conferences?
The only thing he has over Deontay Wilder is reach and movement. That's it.
No psychological edge.
That's it. Only thing he has over Deontay Wilder is reach and movement. That's it.
Because the psychological element is a big part of his game. You know, you've seen him do it to Klitschko.
No. He don't know nothing about the psychological part of boxing. Just because you can get into the ring and you can verbally get into a person's head, just verbally, you can get into a person's head. Your reach and your movement is allowing that to come true. If Tyson Fury was 6'6" or 6'3", 6'4", and I told him this to his face in Bolton when we trained together, if you wasn't so long and you wasn't so tall and you didn't move so much, I would knock you the fuck out. And everybody else would. But he has no mind fuckery. That's not mind game. That's not psychology.
Maybe not to you. Maybe not to you.
You tell me one person he's fought that he used psychology.
Klitschko.
He did not use, all he did with Klitschko was 2 things. He moved and he moved more. Nobody in the world had that type of reach over Vladimir and that type of movement. I knew the movement was going to bother Vladimir because I trained with Vladimir since 2003, and I've moved. And it frustrates I remember the first time Manny Stewart met me, Vladimir told Manny Stewart after the first round, he said, "Gosh, this guy is so fast and he moves too much." Manny said, "Yep, and that's what you need to learn how to face, and that's why we're going to keep him up here."
Have you ever fought or sparred Wilder?
Yeah, all the time. This is back years ago when he lived right up the road from me, Birmingham, Alabama, Douglasville, Georgia, right there.
Is he as wild as people make out? Because when he's finishing fights, he looks wild. Big wide swings, big heavy punches, finishes them off. Now, Jordan fights. I think it's a little bit of a misconception That's the way he fights throughout the fight.
He fights like that, but he's accurate. It's hard. Like you and I both know that. Anybody that can throw haymakers are not meant to land as much as his land. His land 65% of the fight. Who does that? Usually accuracy comes through straight punches, corners, straight up the middle.
Yeah.
His comes from the ugliest angles,
Yeah.
but it's dead on accurate. That you should see it coming and block it. That's why nobody really throws overhand lefts and rights that much. They shoot more straight punches and the hooks more than to throw that. He shoots it so big, but he's accurate. He's accurate.
That's what I mean. I think there's that often doesn't get talked about with him. You know, it's wild by name, wild by nature. But no, I think he's a better boxer than people make out. I don't think he's at the level of Tyson Fury in terms of movements and boxing. But how do you see that fight panning out then? What's your sort of prediction on that?
Depends if Fury's going to run. Same thing with Vladimir. If he's going to do that running, that's why I didn't even bother to watch the fight. I knew it was going to happen. He's going to run himself into a 12-round decision. Easy.
Yeah.
Not a scratch, not a mark, not a nothing. It's just so easy to do. It's so easy to run.
Yeah.
So easy.
And
So if he decides to run, Wilder got to play the catching game. Tell me how many people that Wilder fought that he had to go run and catch for over 4 to 6 rounds. Not many.
And just to finish the interview off, I just want to talk about another big fight that's been announced in the UK recently. I don't know sort of how much waves this is making in the UK, but Tony Bellew versus Usyk. Quality fight for all the belts, all the marbles are involved.
Yeah.
What do you make of Tony Bellew's sort of rise? I know he's going back down to cruiserweight, but what do you make from his sort of rise from cruiserweight into heavyweight?
Love it. It reminds me of how Roy Jones did it. Well, against John Ruiz coming into the heavyweight, took a big chance.
Do you think he's got that international appeal, Tony Bellew? What sort of his opinion?
I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
He's pretty hard to speak about, but from what I've seen so far, I can't take anything away from him. Like, you know, you give props when props are due, and I definitely give him his props, especially for a light heavyweight to come into heavyweight, and to no matter who you fought, you've competed in the heavyweight division, and then now you're going back down into a more dangerous division because them guys hit hard and they're fast. I remember I started boxing, I was that division. I got out of there quick because anytime you're that fast and got the same strength of the heavyweight, I want nothing. Let me at least have an option to deal with speed or power. I choose to deal with power. Not many heavyweights have speed. So I choose to deal with power. That was the whole big. I was 198 as a heavyweight when I started. And I wasn't even 198. I used to have to fill up on food and water. I was like 193. I used to fill up on stuff to keep stuff. I always got on the scale dressed. How long do you think in terms of the boxing career you've got left now? How many more fights? Well, I'm promoting now, so I may do I would like to have 50 fights, so I want to be 40 wins with 10 losses. Yeah. Well. So that's where I want to finish my career. So I'm at 44 fights, so 6 more fights, and that should be pretty. The younger guys that be fighting on my cards and stuff should pretty much satisfy my appetite for boxing after that. Well,
you know, you've got a lot to give back to the sport, and you know, you can see you've got a good head on your shoulders to make that happen as well, and guide the youngsters through as well. So, listen, Kevin Johnson, it's been great speaking to you. Thanks for speaking to Fight Up TV.
Definitely.
And good luck Saturday. Hope it all goes well. And I look forward to seeing you in action.
Oh, 100%. You definitely will. Just do me a favor. Tell them don't shut the bar off until I get off the ring.
Good man. Cheers.
Just a cheers.
Thank you.
All right.